Hello everybody, it's Fufu here, and today I've got another overlooked buff video for you, and we'll be looking at the Gen 5 water bird Pokemon Swanna. If you're enjoying this kind of content, please leave a like on this video because it definitely helps me determine which videos to upload, but if not, that's fine too. So first let's see what Swanna does before Gen 7, and then we can check out the awesome buffs that it's received since Pokemon Sun and Moon. Swanna is a beautiful water flying type, and this is fantastic typing both offensively and defensively. Offensively, flying type is great to spam and very few things resist it, and those that do generally don't resist water type. So it's really good offensive stabs, and then defensively it's got some neat resistances, but you just have to watch out for those electric types. Looking at its stats, it's actually deceptively strong in the low tiers. 98 speed is decent, it's not amazing, but it's gonna outspeed most things in those low tiers, and 87 in both offenses could definitely be higher, but this is actually misleading because it does have very high base power moves. And because both its attack and special attack stat are at that level, it allows it for offensive versatility, so you can use physical or special type moves. The high base power moves that I'm talking about are Brave Bird and Hurricane, very strong and not many things like to switch in. And then it's got nice coverage with Scald, which can burn things and does decent damage. Its bulk is not amazing, but it can take some resisted hits and has Roost to keep it around for longer. Nothing particularly interesting to write home about in terms of abilities, but it does get Hydration, which ties together a rain set with Hurricane that always hits in rain and a water damage boost, so that's pretty neat. Its main set was an offensive defog set. It could run Hurricane, Scald, then defog and Roost. It's pretty good at keeping pressure on, but can go down quite quickly with Life Orb recoil and weakness to rocks. So what about the buffs? Well, the first one's pretty important because Swanna now gets access to Liquidation, and until now, Swanna had no physical water type stab at all, which is a shame because Brave Bird hits really hard, and previously really you'd only see the special sets with Hurricane and Scald. Liquidation isn't just a passable water type stab, it's actually great. It's strong, it's accurate, and it has a decent secondary effect, being able to reduce the opponent's defense. There's really no downside to it, which is nice because your other stab physical move will be Brave Bird, so you will get recoil, so it's nice to have a bit more of a reliable move to spam. This allows Swanna true offensive versatility because it's got good special moves, it's got good physical moves now, and you could have a really cool mixed choice scarf set. So you could run that Hurricane, which is really powerful and would be good for hitting any physical walls that would want to switch in on Swanna, but then have that extremely powerful nuke in Brave Bird and Liquidation. You can keep defog on there if you're worried about your opponent getting up too many hazards, and you can support your team in that way. It's just a real shame that Swanna doesn't get U-turn because it would be so great on a choice scarf set with this nice speed and some really strong attacks. U-turn would be fantastic. The second buff that I'm going to talk about is now access to Aquajet, another physical water type stab move. So from having none, you get two all at once. It's fantastic. And this is priority, which Swanna also did not get before. This is really neat, it can catch people off guard, and what this allows Swanna to do now is have a very strong dedicated choice band set, so only physical moves. And low tier Brave Bird is so hard to switch into. A banded Brave Bird will hit everything very hard. Liquidation then provides you pretty much all the coverage you need, and Aquajet covers for anything that's faster than you. You can do some really great revenge killing and switch things out. You can then have maybe Roost on there if you want to keep Swanna around a bit longer, because obviously Stealth Rock damage and Brave Bird recoil is going to wear you down quite a bit eventually, but it's just an option to have on the set. So I think this is going to be really cool, definitely going to get you some surprise KOs, and I think you should try this one out. And the third and final buff that I'm going to be talking about is Z-moves. Now, previously in the series, I've said that I don't like talking about Z-moves too much because obviously everything gets Z-moves, so how can you class it as a buff for this Pokemon specifically? But Swanna, I think, benefits more than any of the other Pokemon that I've talked about in this series so far, because of how many different ways it can use Z moves effectively. So I'll go into that in a bit more detail, but this is going to be a bit of idea porn, so prepare yourself for 5 interesting movesets that you're definitely going to want to try out. The first one is an offensive Z move, Supersonic Sky Strike, based on Hurricane. And this is probably Swanna's defining set in Generation 7. This is what is run in the lower tiers right now. It's offensive defog, much like what I talked about at the beginning of the video, but the Z move just adds an X factor because Swanna gains incredible power from this. You don't get the life orb recoil that you used to have to rely on, wearing Swanna down very quickly. And not only that, but you don't have the shaky accuracy of Hurricane, so Z moves always hit. This allows Swanna a reliable, accurate nuke once per battle, and it's very, very useful. So you keep on that offensive pressure on your opponent while being able to defog, which is very useful because a lot of defog Pokemon actually lose you momentum, but this one will keep on the pressure on your opponent. The second Z move I'm going to be talking about is very similar. It's basically Supersonic Sky Strike based on Brave Bird. Now you can have the physical set, and again Brave Bird has the negative effect of getting you recoil. You can have the powerful Sky Strike nuke with absolutely no recoil at all, and you can run maybe a similar offensive defog set, but you're catching your opponent off guard because now you're running Swanna with physical moves, which they aren't expecting. Now for the tasty ones, we've got 3 status Z moves coming up, so brace yourselves. We've got Z-Me first, which gives a +2 speed for Swanna so that it can potentially sweep late game. Now you have to bear in mind that without a boosting offensive item, Swanna won't be super powerful, so you do need your teammate support in weakening the opponent's team before you go for this sweep. But previously the only way you'd get a speed boost would be with something like Tailwind, which runs out and it's not as reliable for sweeping late game. Z-Me first also gives you the chance, if you outspeed the opponent, of getting a nuke offensive Z move off as well. If they're going to attack you that turn, Z-Me first will bounce that attack right back at them before they even have a chance to use it. So that's a really neat one for trying to sweep late game, but just watch out for Swanna's power because it might not match what you need. The second one, this one's very fun, is Z Mirror Move, which gives Swanna +2 attack. It doesn't get access to Sword Stance, but now with all of these juicy physical attacks to use, Z Mirror Move is a real option. It can boost its Brave Bird power, its Liquidation power, and you can sweep with Aquajet late game. And again, if your opponent has attacked Swanna previously, Z Mirror Move can turn that attack into a powerful Z move bounce back at the opponent. So not only can it give you the +2 attack, it can actually really hurt the opponent too. So that's a really neat way of using Swanna as well. And the final set, another chance to sweep, and this one I really like. I mentioned Rain Dance with Swanna before. There's great synergy there because it gives you accurate hurricanes, boosts the damage of your water move, and activates your hydration ability. Well, now you can run Z Rain Dance and get +1 speed at the same time while getting all of those other buffs. So you've got powerful hurricanes, you've got powerful surfs or scalds, and your sweep won't be stopped by an annoyance like paralysis because hydration will prevent all of that. I think Z Rain Dance has very good potential for sweeps, and I'd love to see this one tried out. So all in all, Swanna is a very solid defogger in low tiers. This is something that's already established. But with all the buffs that we've got this generation, it's far less predictable, much harder to switch into, and even has multiple ways of trying to go for an endgame sweep. Swanna has exponentially more options this generation, and I love that. I think it looks beautiful, it's got one of the best pre-evos in the game. There are so many reasons to use this Pokemon, please try it out. I'm very excited about this one, and you might be able to tell. But that's going to be all for today. Thank you so much for watching. Please let me know in the comment section what you think of Swanna, and or let me know if you get any amazing Swanna sweeps. I would love to hear about that. That's going to be all for today. I've been foofootoo, you've been awesome, and hopefully see you next time. Goodbye.